Hello everyone, this is Steve from Real Progressives, and I'm going to try to address head-on this idea of throwing away your vote, the idea of Supreme Court, the idea of war, the idea of Jill Stein can't win, the idea of throwing away your vote, and all the other stuff that comes with that. I'm also going to try my best to discuss with you all, some of the consequences that you can expect from each of these decision trees, right? Because every one of our decisions has a consequence. And every consequence has got to be something that we should know in advance what we're doing. We should understand the yin and the yang and the winds, etc. So, as you all know, I am firmly in the Never Hillary camp. And there are a whole lot, host of reasons for that. It's not really as important that I'm in that camp as it is what that means overall. So, at the end of the day, we know that we are primarily in a two-party system. We know this. We know that our laws are structured in such a way to buoy up this first-past-the-post mindset. It's structurally that way. We have the Electoral College that pinches us out as we try to expand our opportunities beyond the two-party system. We know that there are state-by-state hurdles that a third party needs to go through just in order to even get consideration. They can't get on the debate stage, they can't get federal funding, on and on and on. And that is going to happen every single year until we take a stand at some point, right? And my take on that particular stance is, what better time than now? Because you are your vote. And I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it because I think it needs to be said to as many people as I can possibly say it to. You are your vote. You're not the vote you didn't cast, you're the vote you did cast. So if I vote for Hillary, you can pretty much guarantee that every single war, every single cut to Social Security, every single Wall Street giveaway, every single scandal, every single shenanigan, every single conservative justice that she nominates and gets confirmed, because vote blues don't go against one another. Every bit of that, is going to be on your shoulders or on my shoulders if I make that choice. The flip side is that I know that by supporting a third party in Jill Stein and the Green Party, or any other third party for that matter, I know that I'm in an uphill battle. I know right up front that the deck is stacked against me. I am not living in a fantasy bubble. I know that this is a Herculean task. I know that it is probably not going to happen. I know that getting her into the White House, Jill Stein, probably will not happen. However, I am a firm believer that nothing changes if nothing changes. So as I think about what that means, if I cast a vote for Stein, I own all that. Casting a vote for Stein allows them to get matching federal funds. It allows them to get on the debate stage to continue talking about the issues, not just the Boolean, bad Trump, bad Hillary, bad Trump, bad Hillary. We actually talk about healthcare again. We actually talk about stopping war. We actually talk about the environment. And mean it, not just pay lip service to it to keep the low information voters who think they're environmentalists happy. I'm talking about the hardcore, right? We're able to actually have an in-depth conversation on the stage and put those two fools on the hot seat. Make them answer questions that they don't want to answer, that they don't know how to answer. Then it comes down to the Supreme Court. Right? One of the most important things that you're going to see, I obviously don't want to see a Scalia on the Supreme Court. Hell, I don't want to see a Merrick Garland on the Supreme Court. And yeah, a Donald Trump presidency is probably going to put forth or nominate a fairly conservative Supreme Court justice nominee because, let's be fair, he's got Mike Pence on his team, etc., right? But this is where it gets good. We have a whole host of Bernie-crats running for Congress. We have a host of Green Party candidates running for Congress. We have progressives all over the country running for various state, local level positions. So my thought is that we support the living hell out of them. We go ballistic and fill that Congress up with people that want to make change. We fill all of our state governments up with people that want to make change. And we absolutely block Hillary. We show up to vote, folks. Don't let anybody say, well, you're not going to vote. Oh, yes. We're going to vote, and we're going to vote in huge numbers. And we're going to support the people that support what it is that we support. We're not going to sit there and cast a vote that we have to own and support throughout the next 4 or 8 years. Think about that. If Hillary gets in there, do you think the Democratic Party is going to primary her in 2020? It would be a hard sell, right? And here's the other thing that you need to own about any of this stuff. Whenever there's a Democrat in office, the people get self-satisfied. They get complacent. They stop caring about war. They stop caring about civil liberties. They stop caring about incremental militarization of police. They stop caring about real honest change because they have been convinced that every single failure, every single lack of progress, every single everything comes down to the horrible GOP. They don't look at the Claire McCaskells. They don't look at the Joseph I. Liebermans. They don't look at all the different people that they have given a pass to because they're quote unquote on the same team. I mean, you still got people blaming Ralph Nader for Gore losing when the fact of the matter is that the polls show, exit polls show that many Democrats crossed the line to vote for Shrub. But you don't hear that. You don't hear them talk too much about the Supreme Court. You don't talk about Jeb putting his thumb on the scale. You hear them talk about the Nader effect. And the fact is that they voted for W. Hey, people vote for W. It is the way it was back then. I don't know if y'all remember, but W had almost 100% approval rating. It was in the high 90s. It's unheard of. That wasn't just, right-wing Republicans. That was every Democrat in the country rooting for W. They were being patriotic. They weren't going to cut down the president. They were going to support our war. They were going to support our troops. And so what do? You get a complacent society that doesn't do anything to make change happen again. They sit back and they say, well, you know what? The good people are going to keep fighting. And they don't. They literally don't. So what did the Tea Party teach us? The Tea Party taught us that we don't have to be in power to have power. They taught us that we don't have to vote for unacceptable candidates, that we can block the living bejesus out of every one of their agendas if we stay strong and fight, right? So, worst case scenario, Donald Trump puts forth some god-awful, Scalia-type SCOTUS, right? So you're going to see all these low-info people running around, fapping at the mouth, oh no, SCOTUS. We're going to block that, man. You got to block that. And if we elect Bernie-crats and Greens, etc., across the board, you're not going to have to worry about his Supreme Court picks if he got in there. God forbid, right? I always think to myself, sometimes the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. And we've got 30 plus years of the devil we know in Hillary. And we know every time she makes a mistake, it's a learning experience. It's always OJT for the coronation, right? But we know who she is and we know what she's done. And we remember the cackle heard round the world. We came, we saw, he died. I don't want a president like that, do you? If Hillary comes to beat Donald Trump, it won't be because I cast a vote for her. But then the fact that we have Bernie Sanders on the inside and Bernie-crats around to hold her accountable if we take care of our business at the state and local level, I'm not too worried about the Supreme Court, are you? And here's the other thing that really troubles me. I remember when the Democrats finally decided to start fighting against the Iraq War and then the Afghanistan War. And I remember when they took to the streets, and I remember millions around the world taking to the streets, fighting against war, fighting against fascism, fighting against jingoism, fighting against xenophobia, screaming out for peace, saying that bombing children is not any way to find peace. I remember that. I remember Occupy. But one thing I also remember, the Democrats killed Occupy. That's what happens when the Democratic Party gets control. They kill insurgencies. They kill revolution. That's what they do. That's their goal. That's their modus operandi. We all truly unite and fight against a common foe when it's the GOP. I can't stress that enough. So flash forward to November, and you got Hillary or you've got Trump, or hey, maybe we get Stein. Maybe we're able to pull this off and fight like hell and get her in there. You got to ask yourself, what does that look like in terms of resistance? Are Democrats going to be in resistance mode or celebration mode if Hillary wins? Think about it. If Trump wins, are progressives and Democrats going to be ready to take to the streets and fight? Oh, you bet your bottom dollar they will. They absolutely will. The revolution will catch fire. But those self-satisfied vote blue sycophants, if Hillary gets in there, they'll tell you to shut up and eat your peas. That's right. Every one of our issues, they're going to pay lip service to it. They'll give it a couple inches of budge to make it look like they're doing something, and then they're going to go right back to what they always do. There'll be no one guarding the hen house. There'll be no way of fighting it off. None. Absolutely none. That should scare you a hell of a lot more than Donald Trump's rhetoric. Complacent vote blue Democrats making progressives the crazy step uncle at Thanksgiving that should just shut his mouth. That's what we'll be in a Hillary campaign, in a Hillary presidency. You've already seen her decide she's going to pick Tim Kaine. She's already let us know that her supporters like Brent Scowcroft, Bob Kagan, and the rest of the neocons are more important to her than us progressives. The triangulation will be severe. All of a sudden, TPP, which you saw the jerk, you see all the friggin' Clinton's people misspeaking. They're like out there saying, yeah, well, she'll flip on T. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that? Yeah, I'm sure she'll hold true to it. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. So Terry McAuliffe made the biggest whoopsie, didn't he? He sat there and left the cat out of the bag that she wasn't going to hold to that. You know? So everything, and who's going to stand up against it? Are the vote blue people going to do it? Or are they going to say, well, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. We got to stay true to blue. It's the blue, right? That's what we're going to get, nothing but. There'll be zero resistance, but a group of hardened people like myself with our fists up in the air, fighting and being like in a group of 10 people, because vote blue people truly can't criticize their own. That is what you're going to get if you don't fight tooth and nail to block Hillary Clinton and fight for Jill Stein. Self-satisfied, totally impotent vote blue Democrats who will then in turn, to pay off the Scowcrofts and everything else, nominate a Supreme Court justice that's every bit as conservative as Merrick Garland, who is pro-Citizens United and everything else. And guess what? Nothing changes, and 2020 comes, we're going to be told, oh my God, the GOP is so horrible, you got to re-elect Hillary. And 2024 come, and there'll be a new boogeyman waiting around the corner on the GOP side that we all have to get angry at and yell at, raise our fists at, ah, no, I can't do it, it's horrible. And nothing will absolutely change. Your kids will still be dead in the wars that she brings forth with her neocon buddies and her AIPAC friends. They'll still be dead. There's no bringing them back once they're dead in her wars. But you can take a stand. You can keep your hands clean. You can help me lock arms and fight for Jill Stein. No, Jill is not as animated and as exciting and did not start this revolution with Bernie, right? Jill has been fighting her own wars for a long time in the Green Party, and there are a lot of structural issues. Some of the battles we'll have to do are not sexy. They're not. They're boring, kind of. getting signatures for ballot access. You know, they're going around talking to people, trying to find out more about Jill Stein. Good news is we got a person that just joined our team named Marina, who will be covering the Green Party convention for us. That's a good news. So we're going to get you more information for you burners who maybe don't know enough about the Green Party yet. We're going to continue to cover that because we want you to be an informed voter, an informed citizenry. But just remember what I'm saying. This is not about who has the better policies or who's worse or who's better. They all say the same things. Like Paul Ryan. Yeah, we've got to make college more affordable for people. Well, what does he mean by that? He's going to cut all support, all help for the poor. That's how he'll cut costs. He'll cut all help to the poor. So Hillary, yeah, we got to make college more affordable. So what does she do? She puts arbitrary cutoff points for need-based access, which means that it leaves out millions of people. What happens with Bernie? Bernie says, hey, I want it to be a right for citizens. What does Jill say? I want it to be a right for citizens. That's what we're going for, folks. They all say the same thing, but their delivery is completely different. And Hillary is no savior. She's going to think about this. This should be the case in point for everything. What did they say about single-payer health care? We can't tarnish the legacy of Obama. My goodness, he fought so hard for it, and we can't possibly do anything about it now, can we? That's what Democrats do. They're done fighting, man. They've already solved health care. It's over. Forget all you people that can't afford your affordable health care. We've already done our part. And that's too controversial. We're not going to talk about that. We're just not going to do it. And that right there has got to be your telltale heart. That's your Alfred Hitchcock moment. They are simply, once they've done their little incrementalism, they're done. You're done. Shut up and eat your peas. Vote for Jill Stein with me. And don't just vote for her. Help me get the word out. Help me help you and help her. Let's do this together, man. Let's do everything we can to vote our conscience. Don't allow liars about the Supreme Court. They've got to nominate. Then they've got to take it through the subcommittee. Then the Senate's got to friggin' approve them. If they actually care about it like they did with our big gun sit-in, they can filibuster this as well, right? Right? I mean, seriously, let's not forget everything we know about civics. Let's not go and start pretending like Lord Emperor Trump is somehow or another more powerful than Lord Emperor Obama, who for the last 8 years, we said, well, you can't be hard on Obama because the Tea Party blocked everything. The Tea Party blocked everything, so Obama did the best he could. Give me a freaking break, man. You can't have it both ways. Either you can block this shit as the minority party or you cannot. If you can, then hold the damn Democrats accountable for blocking it. And stop selling me a bill of goods. Stop lying. Supreme Court is fear porn. It's nothing but fear porn. Trump will have to nominate somebody if he gets in there. Hillary will have to nominate somebody if she gets in there. Jill will have to nominate somebody if she gets in there. They're not going to confirm a pro-life, one of these people that's running around trying to tell you to put aspirin between your knees, or brings a snowball into the Senate to talk about climate change. It's not going to get approved. How in the hell do you expect me to buy that the Democrats are going to approve that? And anybody that's paid any attention whatsoever knows that the Senate is ripe to flip back, and the House could even flip back. One last thing before I go. There's two things that I'm going to put up in this. There's a Politico article that I share all the time that talks about how winning the White House is terrible for the parties they are serving. Terrible. Because every time a president is elected, they lose seats in Congress. They lose seats at the state houses, they lose seats at the county, and they lose seats at the little township aldermans. Yeah, that's right. So you better really want Hillary, because you're going to lose a lot in the House and Senate. Because, yeah, there's a loyal opposition out there, and they're going to go crazy like we would go crazy. If you think the powers that be lie in the House and Senate, then that's where our focus really needs to be. You need to consider that. Nothing happens. The purse strings lie in the House. The Senate controls justices. That's right. So don't tell me that Lord Emperor Trump is somehow or another more powerful than Lord Emperor Obama and can suddenly do things, miraculous things that Obama couldn't do. Just don't do it. That doesn't hold any water with me. Anyway, I'm going to post that article by Politico. The other thing is, Cokie Roberts, a Republican hack, talked about how the Democrats have lost over 900 seats at every level of government since 2008. And it's true, they have. In fact, it's almost up to 1,000 now. It may be over 1,000, to be honest with you. I haven't seen a tally lately. And there's a reason for that. The Politico article talks about it, but it also has to do with the fact that they keep running neocons, neoliberals, and progressives don't want that. And we're not going to support it. We're not doing lesser evil stuff anymore. So there's your thing in a nutshell. There it is. Be your vote, own your vote, vote for Jill Stein, help her get the funding she needs, help her get on the debate stage, and stop wars. This is Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives, hoping you have a wonderful day.